Hello, friends. If you own your home and you are over 60, Congress has been unusually active on housing issues this month. And some of what recently occurred, and what is currently being considered, has details that I think will genuinely surprise you. One bill became law just 18 days ago without anyone making a major announcement about it. Another could potentially allow some seniors to sell their home and keep up to $1 million in profit with significant tax advantages. And a third proposal would eliminate property taxes entirely for long-term homeowners over a certain age. Today, I am going through all of it. What became law, what is being considered, and what you might explore right now, regardless of which bills ultimately pass. Before we get into it, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on the bell. Housing legislation affects the largest asset most seniors own, and it moves quickly. Subscribe now and let's get into it. Let me start with what already became law because most people missed this entirely when it happened. On July 11th, 2026, 18 days ago, the 21st Century Road to Housing Act became law without a signing ceremony and without major news coverage. Here is how the legislation became effective when it was neither signed nor vetoed within the 10-day constitutional window, so it automatically became law. Most people missed this entirely. The Act combines dozens of housing proposals aimed at increasing housing supply. The provision that matters most for seniors, restrictions on additional single-family home purchases by large institutional investors, the private equity firms and hedge funds that spent the past decade buying up single-family homes in high-demand markets, taking them off the market for individual buyers, and contributing to the supply shortage that pushed prices to record levels. For seniors considering whether and when to downsize, this matters. One of the biggest obstacles has been the shortage of affordable homes to move into. If investor restrictions meaningfully increase supply over the next several years, the conditions for downsizing may improve. This is not an immediate change. Housing supply adjusts gradually, but it is a structural intervention designed to address a problem directly affecting seniors' housing choices. Now, the bill that could potentially benefit some seniors significantly if it passes. Representative Nicole Malliotakis of New York introduced H.R. 964, called the Nest Egg Protection Act, at the end of June 2026. The bill has one central provision. It would temporarily double the capital gains tax exclusion available to homeowners age 65 and older who sell their primary residence between 2027 and 2030. Here is what that means in practical terms. Under current law, the rules that have been in place since 1997, when you sell your primary residence, you may exclude up to $250,000 in profit from capital gains tax if you are single and up to $500,000 if you are married, filing jointly. Any profit above those amounts is subject to capital gains tax at rates that can reach 20% plus the 3.8% net investment income tax for higher income sellers. Those thresholds made sense in 1997 when the average U.S. home sold for approximately $172,200. Today, according to Federal Reserve data, the average home sale price is $514,600. In many metropolitan areas, it is significantly higher. Here is what that math looks like for a typical senior homeowner in 2026. You bought your home in 1995 for $180,000. It is now worth $650,000. Your gain is $470,000. Under current law, if you are married, you exclude $500,000. Your entire gain is excluded. No tax. If you are single, you exclude only $250,000, meaning $220,000 of your gain is subject to capital gains tax. At 15%, that represents $33,000 in taxes on a home you lived in for 30 years. Under the Nest Egg Protection Act, your single filer exclusion doubles to $500,000, and your entire $470,000 gain is excluded. Potentially zero capital gains tax for seniors in higher cost markets. California, New York, the Pacific Northwest, parts of Florida, where homes bought decades ago for $200,000 or $300,000, are now worth $800,000 or more. The tax exposure under current law is even larger, and the potential benefits from the doubled exclusion even more significant. According to Redfin data, nearly 80% of baby boomers own their homes in 2025, making them the generation with the highest homeownership rate in the country. And as Malatakus noted, when introducing the bill, many of them are staying in homes they might otherwise sell because the tax consequences of selling are too significant. The housing economist term for this is the lock-in effect, and the Nest Egg Protection Act is specifically designed to address it. The bill applies only to homeowners 65 and older, applies only to primary residences owned for at least 2 years out of the 5 before the sale, and is currently temporary, applying only to sales between 2027 and 2030. It has not passed. It is in Congress now, but if it does pass before 2027, every senior homeowner considering a sale in the next several years should understand what it means for their specific situation before making a decision. The third proposal is more targeted in geography, but more aggressive in its ambition than either of the first two. Pennsylvania State Senator Doug Mastriano introduced legislation in April 2026 that would completely eliminate property taxes for qualifying senior homeowners. The eligibility requirements are specific. You must be 75 years of age or older. You must have lived in Pennsylvania continuously for at least 10 years. And you must have owned and occupied your current home for at least 10 years. If you meet all 3 criteria, your property tax bill goes to zero permanently. Senator Mastriano put the reasoning for the bill plainly. At some point, continuing to tax someone out of their home after a lifetime of contributions is simply not right. No senior who has paid taxes for decades should have to fear losing their home due to rising property taxes. The bill includes annual eligibility verification requirements and penalties for fraudulent claims. It is currently in the co-sponsorship process in the Pennsylvania Senate and has not yet received a floor vote, but it represents the most aggressive state-level property tax relief proposal for seniors currently active in any state legislature in the country. For context on why this kind of proposal is gaining traction, property taxes have risen dramatically in most of the country in recent years, driven by soaring home valuations. The 2026 Social Security COLA was 2.5%. Property tax bills in many counties rose 10 to 20% in the same period. The result is what housing researchers are calling the house-rich, cash-poor problem. Seniors who have significant equity in long-held homes, but who face mounting annual tax bills that their fixed incomes cannot keep pace with. The Pennsylvania proposal directly addresses this mismatch for the oldest, longest-tenured homeowners in the state. Now let's cover what is already in place across the country. Because some of the most significant senior homeowner benefits that exist right now are still being claimed by only a fraction of eligible seniors. Texas expanded its senior homestead exemption significantly in 2025 when voters approved constitutional amendments raising the additional over 65 exemption from $10,000 to $60,000 on top of the standard $140,000 homestead exemption. Texas seniors who have not recently verified their property tax exemption status at their county appraisal district should consider doing so now. The expanded amounts took effect this year, and some counties have not automatically updated their records. New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed legislation that expanded the Senior Citizens Homeowners Exemption, SCHE, allowing localities to offer property tax exemptions of up to 65% of a home's assessed value, up from the previous maximum of 50%. The expanded exemption is effective for taxable years beginning January 1st, 2026. Income eligibility is set at the local level with a statewide income threshold of $500,000 or less, a deliberately broad limit designed to ensure most seniors qualify. Local governments must choose to adopt the higher exemption level, meaning seniors need to verify whether their specific municipality has done so and whether they need to reapply at the new level. New Jersey's Stay NJ program, which provides property tax relief of up to $6,500 for seniors who qualify, continues in 2026, alongside the Senior Freeze program that locks property tax assessments for eligible older homeowners. The common thread across all of these programs, and the most important practical point of everything I have covered today, is that none of these benefits are automatic. Not the state exemptions, not the freezes, not the expansion in New York, not the Texas homestead adjustments. Every single one requires you to apply. And most of them have annual deadlines that fall in late summer or early fall, which means right now in July and August is the active window for submitting or renewing applications that affect your bill next year. Consider calling your county assessor's office this week. The number is on your property tax bill, and ask specifically what senior property tax exemptions, freezes, or relief programs apply to my address, and what is the deadline to apply for each one for the next tax year. Write down those deadlines, then apply before they pass. The property tax benefits available to qualifying senior homeowners in 2026 are real, meaningful, and go unclaimed by the overwhelming majority of eligible seniors every single year, simply because no one told them to apply. So, here is the complete picture. The 21st Century Road to Housing Act became law on July 11th and restricts large institutional investors from expanding their single-family home portfolios, a structural change designed to improve housing supply over time. The Nest Egg Protection Act, currently in Congress, would double the capital gains exclusion to $500,000 for single filers and $1 million for married couples when seniors 65 and older sell their primary residences between 2027 and 2030. The Pennsylvania Property Tax Elimination Bill would completely remove property taxes for homeowners 75 and older, with 10 or more years of continuous residency and ownership. And existing state programs in Texas, New York, New Jersey, and across the country already offer significant property tax relief that is available right now to eligible seniors who apply before this summer's deadlines. Subscribe. Share this with every homeowner you know who is over 60.